Now with the alarming news about a critical water lifeline for the western U.S. New study finding the Colorado River Basin has lost.
Was the Colorado River compact?
The Colorado River, a lifeline to 40 million people, a cradle of American civilization in the arid West, and the sculptor of one of Earth's greatest wonders, the Grand Canyon. But what if we told you that beneath its serene surface lies a secret, one hidden for millennia until now? Recently, a team of geologists and hydrologists conducted an unprecedented deep imaging survey beneath the riverbed stretching from the Grand Canyon to Lake Mead. What they uncovered, using satellite radar, ground-penetrating sonar, and magnetic anomaly mapping, has scientists across the globe stunned. Beneath the Colorado River lies evidence of an ancient, collapsed water system, a possible underground fault line, and something far more mysterious. Is it a new source of freshwater locked deep within the Earth's crust? A seismic ticking time bomb, or remnants of a lost geologic age? Whatever it is, it's already changing how we view the American Southwest, and possibly the stability of the river basin itself. Let's dive deep, literally, into what scientists have just discovered, and why the entire scientific community is scrambling to understand what it means for the future of the American West. The silent artery of the West. The Colorado River is more than a river. It's a complex, controlled, and contested resource that spans 1,450 miles across 7 U.S. states and Mexico. From the snowmelt in the Rocky Mountains to the deserts of Arizona and California, this river irrigates farms, powers cities, and carves canyons. But as the Southwest experiences its worst drought in 1,200 years, scientists have been forced to reconsider how much we actually know about the river's underground dynamics. How does water behave beneath the surface? Are there hidden aquifers or ancient tunnels affecting flow? In early 2025, a consortium of universities and federal agencies launched Project Bedrock, a research mission to scan the deep substructures beneath the Colorado River. Their goal: understand the sediment, geologic fault lines, and subsurface reservoirs that may be affecting water loss, seepage, and even earthquake risk. What they found was beyond anything they had predicted. The imaging that changed everything. Using interferometric synthetic aperture radar, INSAR satellites, combined with ground-based LiDAR and geophysical drills, researchers generated a three-dimensional image of the subsurface beneath the river. This wasn't just about rocks and soil. They were detecting subtle shifts in the Earth itself. What shocked them wasn't just a void or a fault. It was an enormous underground tunnel system, seemingly natural, but stretching for miles like a buried freeway. Even stranger, parts of the bedrock appeared to have collapsed long ago, forming sinkhole caverns that could swallow entire buildings. Moreover, the composition of these structures was unlike typical sedimentary rock. Instead, researchers found layers of volcanic ash and minerals typically found much deeper in Earth's crust. This hinted at either past volcanic activity or upward magma movement that had never been documented in the region. Could the Colorado River be sitting above a dormant geothermal system? Or worse, a hidden fault with seismic potential? The lost aquifer theory. One of the most astonishing findings was the discovery of a deep, isolated body of water, an ancient aquifer, trapped between layers of impermeable rock. Based on isotope dating, the water in this aquifer may be over 15,000 years old, dating back to the last ice age. This could explain historical anomalies in the river's flow rate, including sudden spikes and dips not linked to seasonal changes or dam operations. But this lost aquifer isn't easily accessible. It lies over 1,200 feet beneath the surface, embedded in a compressed layer of mineral-rich shale. Accessing it would require deep fracking or geothermal drilling, both highly controversial options with unknown ecological consequences. However, the mere existence of such a reservoir raises enormous questions. How many of these ancient water pockets exist beneath the river basin? Could they be tapped during drought emergencies? And why did we never detect them until now? Hidden fault, hidden danger. Perhaps the most alarming discovery was seismic. Researchers identified an unmapped fault line running parallel to the river, buried deep beneath the riverbed. Although previously dismissed as an inactive zone, the new INSAR data revealed microquakes and upward pressure in the Earth's crust, movements that suggest the fault might be waking up. This Colorado Rift, as scientists are now calling it, runs dangerously close to the Hoover Dam and parts of Las Vegas water infrastructure. While not on the scale of the San Andreas, this begs the question, have we underestimated the seismic risk of this region? Could the drying of the river, caused by overuse and climate change, be reducing pressure on the Earth's crust, allowing faults to move? If so, then the crisis facing the Colorado River may be about more than just water. It could be about tectonic instability, a desert that wasn't always dry. Geological samples taken from the new fault area revealed something odd. Traces of freshwater mollusk shells, plant material, and fossilized algae embedded deep in rock layers once thought to be dry desert strata. This suggests that the Colorado Plateau may have once hosted a lush, interconnected wetland system, a sort of prehistoric inland delta long gone from our maps. Even more bizarre, these fossils show signs of rapid burial, likely from massive sediment flows or abrupt climate shifts. Could this indicate ancient flood events, possibly linked to the collapse of underground structures like those found in the scan? If so, then we may be looking at evidence of ancient hydrological disasters that rewrote the region's geography, and that could happen again. Indigenous knowledge and forgotten warnings. When the data was presented to tribal historians from the Navajo and Hualapai nations, many were unsurprised. Oral histories passed down for generations spoke of a time when the river disappeared beneath the earth, only to re-emerge miles downstream. Some legends describe breathing rocks and underground rivers that run backward, which now appear eerily consistent with the newly discovered features. This has led researchers to revisit indigenous maps and stories not just as cultural artifacts, but as geospatial records, evidence of long-forgotten floods, landslides, and even collapses that changed the river's course. In short, the past may be warning us about the future, and we'd be wise to listen. Rare mineral veins discovered deep beneath the riverbed. While scanning magnetic anomalies beneath the riverbed near Glen Canyon, researchers stumbled upon unusually high concentrations of rare earth minerals, including neodymium and dysprosium, both essential for high-tech applications like electric vehicles and wind turbines. This discovery has intrigued geologists and alarmed environmentalists. Mining these minerals could offer enormous economic value, especially as the global demand for green technologies surges. But extraction would require deep drilling into delicate river ecosystems, potentially releasing toxic byproducts and destabilizing sediment layers. The veins appear to have formed during ancient volcanic activity millions of years ago, long before the Colorado carved its canyon. Now, the question is, should we disturb one of Earth's most iconic landscapes for materials we desperately need? Subterranean gas pockets hint at ancient hydrothermal activity. Another strange finding: researchers detected methane and hydrogen sulfide gas trapped in sealed subterranean chambers beneath the lower river valley. This suggests past hydrothermal activity, possibly even underwater hot springs or geysers that once surged beneath what is now desert. Thermal imaging shows residual heat signatures, indicating these vents may have gone dormant relatively recently in geologic terms. Some even theorize that localized heating could resume, causing ground uplift or even explosive pressure releases. Is the Colorado River Basin sitting on a dormant geothermal field? If so, this could be a renewable energy goldmine or a ticking geological time bomb. Ancient fissures align with modern sinkhole zones. In southern Utah and northern Arizona, researchers mapped ancient fissures, deep cracks in bedrock filled with sediments that align perfectly with modern sinkhole outbreaks in nearby towns. These fissures appear to be reactivating due to rapid groundwater withdrawal, made worse by prolonged drought and overuse. In other words, the land is quite literally collapsing under pressure. These fissures may also act as conduits, letting water escape from the riverbed into the deep subsurface, further draining the river's flow and destabilizing the surrounding terrain. If these trends continue, we could see more infrastructure collapse, road cave-ins, and possible loss of farmland across the Southwest. Ancient microbial life found in isolated rock layers. Perhaps the most mind-blowing discovery came not from rocks or water, but from life. In rock samples taken over 1,000 feet below the surface, scientists found microbial life forms unlike anything seen on the surface today. These extremophiles, microbes that survive in extreme conditions, are thriving in high-pressure, mineral-rich, low-oxygen environments. Some genetic sequencing reveals adaptations not yet recorded in biology databases. Could these organisms hold clues to early life on Earth, or even how life might exist on Mars or Europa? This finding could have profound implications, not just for geology or biology, but for astrobiology and the search for extraterrestrial life. Accelerated snowmelt due to dust deposition. Researchers from the University of Utah have found that dust settling on snowpack in the Colorado River Basin accelerates snowmelt. This phenomenon significantly reduces the amount of water entering the river, thereby impacting water availability for millions of people who rely on it throughout the American Southwest. The study shows that darker dust particles absorb more solar radiation than clean snow, increasing the surface temperature of the snowpack and causing it to melt as much as 3 to 4 weeks earlier than normal seasonal expectations. This accelerated melt disrupts the delicate timing of water delivery to downstream reservoirs like Lake Powell and Lake Mead, both of which are already under historic stress due to prolonged drought. According to hydrologists, when snow melts too early, much of the water evaporates or is absorbed into dry soil before it reaches tributaries and main river channels, compounding water shortages in the lower basin. The dust originates from disturbed desert landscapes, including overgrazed lands, unpaved roads, and arid areas exposed by drought and climate change. As wind events become more frequent and intense, the volume of dust deposition is increasing each year. Researchers conducted field experiments using snow sampling, albedo measurements, a measure of surface reflectivity, and satellite imagery to quantify the impact. What makes this discovery particularly urgent is its implication for future climate resilience. Water managers depend on snowpack monitoring to predict river flow, generate hydropower, and coordinate water allocations for agriculture, urban use, and ecosystems. Unpredictable snowmelt caused by dust deposition adds another layer of complexity and uncertainty to an already fragile water system. In response, scientists are recommending land management practices that stabilize soil and reduce dust emissions, such as strategic revegetation projects, grazing limits, and dust suppression on roads. Some are even calling for early warning systems that integrate real-time dust transport data with snowmelt modeling. As one researcher stated, this isn't just a mountain problem, it's a basin-wide crisis in the making. Utah News Dispatch, Deseret News. Evidence of ongoing tectonic activity. A study published in GSA Today indicates that the eastern slopes of the Colorado Rocky Mountains are experiencing renewed tectonic uplift a geological process in which portions of the Earth's crust rise over time. This uplift is driven by ongoing crustal deformation, likely associated with deeper mantle dynamics and post-glacial rebound. While previously considered geologically stable, this region is now exhibiting measurable vertical movement, with annual uplift rates reaching several millimeters in some areas. This renewed uplift plays a significant role in the geomorphic evolution of the upper Colorado River basin. As land surfaces rise, rivers respond by incising deeper into the landscape, accelerating erosion and increasing the delivery of sediment downstream. This process reshapes valley walls, triggers landslides, and changes how sediment and nutrients are transported to critical aquatic habitats. Scientists utilized a combination of GPS stations, INSAR, interferometric synthetic aperture radar, and digital elevation modeling to detect and analyze these movements. Particularly notable is that some of the uplift zones coincide with areas of recent microseismic activity and dormant fault lines, raising new concerns about potential earthquake hazards in the region. Moreover, the shift in topography can alter regional hydrology by redirecting surface runoff and modifying groundwater recharge zones. These tectonic forces may also affect man-made infrastructure, such as dams, bridges, and pipelines that were engineered based on now outdated assumptions about tectonic stability. Understanding this tectonic behavior is vital for long-term water resource planning, especially as the Colorado River basin faces increasing stress from climate change and overuse. Researchers advocate for integrating tectonic data into sediment transport models, reservoir sedimentation forecasts, and ecological impact assessments to better prepare for the future. New insights into native fish migration patterns. The USGS has uncovered detailed migration patterns of native fish species like the humpback chub in the Colorado River, a fish once nearly extinct due to damming and habitat loss. Using radiotelemetry, PIT tagging, and environmental DNA, researchers were able to monitor thousands of fish movements across various river segments, providing a dynamic picture of how these species interact with their environment year-round. This work has revealed previously unknown spawning areas and temperature thresholds that trigger migrations, crucial information for resource managers who must balance ecological needs with human water use. For example, humpback chub prefer spawning at specific temperature ranges and flow velocities, often in canyon-bound tributaries where warm groundwater meets the main channel. As water levels drop and temperatures rise due to climate change, these spawning habitats are becoming increasingly fragmented and thermally stressed. In some cases, fish are unable to reach ideal breeding grounds, forcing them into marginal areas with lower survival rates for juveniles. In addition, invasive species like smallmouth bass are expanding into these warm waters, increasing predation pressure. To address this, USGS scientists are collaborating with the Bureau of Reclamation and Native American tribes to adjust dam release schedules for ecological benefit. Timed water pulses are being tested to simulate natural seasonal flows, helping fish navigate barriers and reach spawning sites. Meanwhile, restoration of side channels and backwaters is underway to improve nursery habitats. Conservationists emphasize that this effort isn't just about saving one species. It's about preserving the intricate web of life that depends on seasonal flow patterns. These fish are indicator species, meaning their health reflects the broader river ecosystem. The new data from this migration research is expected to drive future policy decisions, guide habitat restoration funding, and shape the next generation of endangered species recovery plans. High-flow experiments to restore sandbars. The USGS conducted high-flow experiments by releasing large volumes of water from Glen Canyon Dam in an effort to restore sandbars and beaches along the Colorado River. These strategically timed floods are designed to mimic the river's natural pre-dam seasonal flow patterns, which historically shaped and replenish sandbars after snowmelt in spring. Since the construction of Glen Canyon Dam in the 1960s, the river's natural flooding regime has been largely eliminated, leading to the erosion of sandbars and the degradation of riparian habitats. These features are not just important for ecological reasons. They provide nesting habitat for endangered bird species like the southwestern willow flycatcher and the yellow-billed cuckoo, offer thermal refuge and feeding grounds for native fish, and help stabilize riverbanks to prevent further erosion. Additionally, sandbars protect archaeological resources from exposure and damage. Sites containing ancient petroglyphs, pottery shards, and habitation remnants are often buried beneath or alongside sandbanks. Without regular sediment deposition, these cultural assets face increased risk from human interference, erosion, and exposure to extreme weather. The experimental floods are part of the Glen Canyon Dam Adaptive Management Program, a collaborative effort involving scientists, water managers, tribes, environmental groups, and recreational stakeholders. Releases are scheduled based on sediment input from upstream tributaries like the Paria River, which occasionally deliver large volumes of sand following monsoon rains. Once enough sediment accumulates, controlled floods are initiated to rework the deposits and build new beaches. Preliminary results from the most recent high-flow experiment in 2023 showed significant growth of sandbars in targeted reaches of the Grand Canyon, improved habitat complexity, and increased use of backwater areas by native fish species. Long-term monitoring will assess how long these features persist and how they respond to future floods, both natural and artificial. This approach represents a balancing act between preserving hydropower reliability and restoring natural river processes, highlighting the complexity of managing ecosystems in a highly engineered landscape. The race to understand it. All right now, international research teams are flocking to the site. Deep drilling operations are being proposed. The Department of the Interior is reassessing risk maps for Lake Mead and the Hoover Dam, and satellite data is being monitored hourly for further ground shifts. Meanwhile, water management officials face impossible questions. Should they try to tap the ancient aquifer, reinforce the infrastructure near the hidden fault, or wait for more data? Time is of the essence. Climate change is accelerating. Water levels are dropping. And now, there's proof that the very ground beneath the river may be more unstable, more dynamic, and more mysterious than anyone ever realized. So what does it all mean? That the Colorado River, long thought to be fully known and fully mapped, is still hiding secrets. That beneath one of the most vital arteries in North America lies a geologic puzzle, one that could either help solve the West's water crisis or trigger new dangers we never saw coming. This isn't just about science. It's about survival, infrastructure, ecosystems, history, and the future of millions of people who depend on the Colorado River every single day. What else lies beneath the surface, and what happens when nature decides to reveal its next surprise? Stay curious, stay prepared, and above all, keep questioning what we think we know.